ASU is at the forefront of legal innovation, and part of that is the type of experiential opportunities our students have.
This is the Model Constitutional Convention. It's the first of its kind, and it's hosted by the ASU Sandra College of Law. This convention is welcoming students from more than 70 universities around the country. Students with all kinds of backgrounds, from law to politics to chemistry.
College students, I believe, are looking for change.
They want different things, right? They don't all want the same thing, but they see the Constitution as a vehicle to put into practice their values, to fight for whatever it is they want to fight for. And that's interesting. And so I think now is a great moment to seize this energy and to see if it could be translated in legislatures across the country, in Congress. This is like my Super Bowl.
And I told the students that the eyes of the world are upon them, as General Eisenhower said on D-Day. That's how important this convening is.
We have not seen a constitutional amendment in the United States since 1992. And so it is high time that we start thinking about why that is the case and trying to figure out a way that we could understand and promote constitutional reform if we need it. And there are certainly individuals and organizations across the country and politicians who believe that the Constitution should be amended in various ways. And what we're trying to demonstrate here is that it can be done, obviously through a simulation here, so it's not the real thing, but we are showing the world that these kind of debates can take place. And again, I think this is overdue.
I can't imagine a more important topic right now. You know, we're coming up on 250 years anniversary of the Declaration, and then a few more years for the 250 years of the Constitution and its ratification.
I think there's too much veneration of the Constitution. I think we need to confront its flaws and how to change it. That's why this Constitutional Convention is so important.
I am a professional parliamentarian, so I'm a professional conventional parliamentarian, so I helped design the layout of this along with Dr. Lindquist. The Model Constitutional Convention is a gathering of 2 delegates from each state to propose and perfect constitutional amendments for submittal to the various and several states for ratification.
But they also, as did the founders in 1787, elect their leadership. And so prior to the convention, they were required to distribute campaign speeches. They were running for president, vice president, and secretary of the convention. And they voted on those positions, officer positions, before the convention actually met. So we have a George Washington, but this time it's a woman. And we have a vice president and we have a secretary as well.
So my position as president entailed presiding over the committee when we were in session. That includes accepting motions and presiding over debate, as well as voting procedure. I really think that taking the stressful moments in stride and being able to preside over the committee with an air of neutrality while also making sure that debate was efficient and fair was a really, really amazing experience.
It has surpassed anything that I could have hoped for. I think the level of debate that we've had has been just astounding. I think it's been very intelligent, very respectful, and I think we've shown that Americans from all different walks of life can ultimately come together and agree upon some foundational principles.
Seeing how difficult it was even for us just to come up with some proposals that could pass muster, and in real life it would be even more difficult. But I don't think it's impossible. I think that's what that showed, is that even though it's difficult, you can sit down and get stuff done.
The Constitution hasn't really been something that students have kind of taken as their own and seized ownership of. But today in their discussions, I see that. And they're talking about it as theirs. They're really invested in it, not just from the perspective of the state they're representing here, but in terms of what they want to see for the country and for their loved ones in the future. And so I'm really hopeful that we'll see another amendment to the US Constitution, the 28th, in my lifetime, because they're the ones who are going to be tomorrow's legislators. We might have a president in this room.
For the students who were able to participate, this is probably a lifetime memory. Rarely are they going to get an opportunity to spend time with so many people from all walks of life across the country. It also gave them an opportunity to work together across different degree programs, undergrads negotiating with law students working with graduate students. So I think the takeaway will be new skills, new passion for public service, hopefully, and just the ability to move things forward.
I watch conventions and watch deliberative assemblies for a living, and this was the best example of deliberation as an assembly and also of presiding that I have ever witnessed in real life.
This could be a beacon of light for America as a model for what constitutional dialogue looks like.
Some of the amendments that passed included an equal rights proposal, which covered a lot of things that are in the Equal Rights Act, but also some other inclusionary statutes. It talked about sex and gender, and I thought that was really important. And even though I had to remain neutral as president, I was really, really glad to see it passed. We also had a tribal sovereignty amendment pass.
My amendment affirming the sovereignty of tribal nations passed. It was the highest vote getter out of all of the amendments proposed, got a total of 91 votes out of 100 delegates. What it's doing mostly is just kind of constitutionalizing current foundations of federal Indian law.
It was just ensuring that our tribal nations actually have sovereignty and that isn't taken away by the Supreme Court or the federal government in the future. Some of them I didn't quite expect. We passed a amendment to the Constitution restricting eminent domain and making sure that the government can't take your property and then just give it to somebody else.
It was so exciting to see college and law students at a very deep level engaging with the problems of the Constitution and possibilities for reform.
The students will be receiving awards for most persuasive orator, for best conciliator, etc. at the banquet on Saturday night, and we've called these the Store Prizes. The reason we've called them the Store Prizes is we want to honor our donor who made this convention possible, John Storr. And so in his name, we are offering the students the opportunity to win these prizes, and the mentors who are coming to the convention will be the ones selecting the students who will win the prizes. I think this convention has demonstrated that students in this United States can come together and learn to strategize, to negotiate, to build consensus, to collaborate, and to advance their ideas about how the U.S. Constitution should look going forward. Thomas Jefferson argued that every constitution should sunset after 19 years to give a new generation the opportunity to build their own constitution. And what we're seeing here, what we have seen here, is a new generation, young people, coming together to help us understand what they think the Constitution should look like for generations to come.